Howdy. So, welcome to another episode of the T and the Net. The T representing Uncle Iroh, and the Net is the Apostle Andrew. These are two guys that I think embody the spirit of adventurousness, wisdom, kindness, and helping everyone that they interact with along the way. My current guest is Kyle Martin, who Sarujan introduced me to. And actually, Sarujan gave me no context on who you are or why he thought you might be a good fit. So I'm wondering, do you have any idea why Sarujan thought you'd be a good fit?
Oh man. I mean, we were roommates in college. Shrujin and we've known each other for years at this point. Yeah, we essentially, I would say, grew up together. I think when you're in your very late teens, early 20s, that's still a phase of growing up. And I think we've just learned a lot from each other, um, just as roommates and really close friends. So, uh, yeah, I've always picked up a lot of nuggets from him and what he's good at, and I think he would say the same. So we've always had that kind of relationship.
Okay. Would you consider yourself adventurous?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say so. Definitely, I think there's different kinds of adventurous, I would say. For me, it's I definitely like to go new places, especially if they're outdoors. Um, and yeah, just trying new things. I think, you know, I have in the past 4 years, I've had a dog, and he's been my first like pet that I've owned, and that's been one of the great adventures of my life, and that's something I've really enjoyed. So things like that, yeah, I would consider. I kind of loosely define adventure, I guess.
As being willing to try new things, or what's the loose definition of adventure?
Yeah, I guess just doing new things, right? So just taking on new experiences in your life, and not being afraid to do that.
Has there been something that you did recently that you were afraid to do?
Um, yeah, that's a good question. I think One that comes to mind, one that comes to mind was, actually kind of going back to Shrujin and one of my other roommates from college. They're both from India, and I went to India for the first time, back in like 2023. So it's not super recent, but this is just what's coming to mind. That was like a really new experience for me, especially where we went. We went out to up to the Himalayas in Sikkim, and yeah, that was something that I was definitely nervous about, just because, um, yeah, it's just an entirely new world and experience that I'm not used to. Also, the roads and the roads out there are very narrow, and if
Were you
you
driving?
know there was someone else driving, which is that's even scarier for me, honestly. It's like you're not in control, but it was such a beautiful experience that we had. But yeah, that was something that was very new for me. Things like that. Just pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, I think it's good to do every once in a while, especially when it's with people that you trust and care about.
No, I mean I agree wholeheartedly. Yeah, I broke like the dam for international travel myself recently, and so I definitely agree. There is something like nerve-wracking about just going to a new place.
Hmm.
And I'm almost certain I wouldn't go to any of these places if I didn't like if I wasn't going with a close friend or a family member or something.
Yeah,
You,
absolutely.
you went with Srujan,
I went
you
with
said?
actually my other roommate Arn, and then Trujan met us there.
Okay, cool,
So yeah, I was with Arn's family it was like around 2 weeks that we were there, and then Trujan kind of overlapped for some of that.
nice. Yeah, it's good to also have a local guide if you can. I think that makes
Yeah, yeah,
a
no,
difference.
Arn's family was really great. And yeah, no, definitely not something I could have done alone. So it was awesome.
Does that make you want to do more travel like that? Or you had the experience, you're good. You can just check that off and like,
Yeah, no, I definitely think it's something that I want to do more of. You know, I'm going to uh, the Philippines and Japan with my wife and her family soon, and that'll be really exciting as well. Um, and as I do more of it, it's something that you know, I get less nervous about. So I guess it's you gotta look for more things that put you outside your comfort zone. But
is this gonna end with you jumping out of a plane with no parachute? Like, is that
I know it's like
we're
it's
gonna
a
push yourself out a little by little, and then we're gonna.
yeah, I know it's gonna get to a point where it goes too far, right? But yeah, no, I think for me it's as long as it's something new and something I haven't done before and something I previously would have been really afraid of doing, I think that's a win. It doesn't have to be anything crazy.
I agree. So then, so travel is kind of like the big scary thing. So is is this like a principle in your life, or is this just like, oh, when opportunities arise?
It's something I can be better at, right? It's like it's definitely something that I um can do more of. Especially I think since the since the pandemic happened as well, like, we all kind of went into our own worlds, and it feels like ever since it's been a process of trying to get out of that comfort zone, right? It's like, I mean, not that the pandemic was comfortable or anything. It's just we kind of all closed off. And for me, at least, it's been a process, I guess, of opening back up again to new things and new experiences. Um, so yeah, it's something that I have to really work at, I would say, or else I get really I can get comfortable. So it's something I really have to be conscious about.
Yeah. So you're saying you have to be conscious about. There's like there are two sentiments that immediately come to mind. So, I mean, not that you have to. So I'm just curious as in your thoughts. There's like one. It's like um. Not that you're jealous of people, but it's like there's like a saying where it's like, oh, if you're jealous of someone, like whatever they're good at or whatever you're jealous of is like a top three priority for them, and it's probably not a top three priority for you. So like it's
Hmm.
probably like it's sometimes like, oh, it's like that guy is so jacked or his house is so clean or his salary is so high. It might be a top three priority for him, and for you, you have other things that you're prioritizing. The other thing is, I always find like have to be such an interesting phrase because you only have to do things in order to achieve something. Like, so it's
Hmm.
like it's not like you have to be adventurous. Like I just personally would like to be more adventurous. So to be more adventurous, you have to be more adventurous. Um,
Yeah.
which I guess is a tautology, but like it's like you practice things in order to perform things.
Hmm.
Um, so like, is there a motivation for you to want to be more adventurous, I guess?
Um,
We also don't have to dig down the adventurous line of thinking. There is something earlier I could ask you about if you're done with the microscope of adventure, the adventurous trait.
yeah, no, I think your question was more so, your question was around,
Like, why do you feel like this is something that you should or have to work on, I guess?
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think sometimes this specifically, kind of this thread of travel in particular being something that is a little more outside my comfort zone, usually, especially if it's like a long trip to a very far away place. It's something that it is interesting because it's like it's not my favorite thing to do. So it's like I could theoretically be like, oh, I just don't want to do this, right? And I'm totally fine, I guess. But I think I've met so many people from so many amazing places. Um, and it's more so like I want to, you know, learn, be closer to people that I've met throughout my life and learn more about where they come from, and experience things with them and their family. Like that's what I love most about it, and that's kind of where I find value in it. It's not really like it's not really about seeing the new place for me, or getting the picture and the the tourist attraction that everyone takes pictures with. It's not really about that for me. It's more so about deepening connections with people that I love and care about, because I think where people come from is a huge part of who they are.
Yeah, I mean, I agree wholeheartedly. Have you done this with like more than one like have you done this like a similar trip with other people where you like went to where they were from?
Um, so more so locally, like I've like in the US, yes, that like the India was the first place I've been to that was, like that kind of trip. India was the first place I've been, kind of surrounding that, reason. And then the Philippines will be the second. But definitely within the country, like I've had a couple trips like that.
Oh, nice. Cool. Yeah, I mean that's really interesting. For me, I did one trip like that with my dad where I wanted to go see where my parents grew up and stuff like that.
Mm,
I think that is really enlightening. It's cool to see because you can see almost like, or at least I felt I could see very direct, like the people he hung out with. Yeah, I can see why, you know, my dad ends up like this, or
yeah.
like some of the stories that I heard my mom tell make a lot more sense in this neighborhood than in, like I grew up in like a suburb in Massachusetts. It's very
Mhm.
generic white America's like which is not at all like what my mom grew up in. So
Where's your family from?
both of my parents were raised in Alexandria, Egypt.
Mm, okay,
Um,
nice.
so yeah, I think it's cool. I mean, I never really thought about doing that in the US. Like, I mean, most of the people I know are not from very far either, right? Like, I know people from Egypt and I know people from like the US. And
Yeah,
I never really thought about like, oh, like this guy's from Texas. Let me see how different Texas is from
yeah,
Massachusetts. I mean, it is different, don't get me wrong. Is
yeah,
that something that you learned a lot about those people from, like going to their places in the States?
yeah. I mean, I guess because there's so many different, ways to live, even in this country. So um, I think it's really valuable and interesting to experience that. And you definitely see more of it as you go around. But also there's a layer of it. Um, when you travel within the country, but also outside the country, it's like despite how different things can be, there's still this feeling that everything's the same, and everything's really connected. Like the experiences are so similar, like the experiences can be so similar. Um, and there's these like shops that you would see back home in this new place, and there's through lines, I guess, that you can feel despite despite the appearance sometimes being so different, which is something that I also connect with. Um, but yeah, definitely, I definitely think so.
Yeah, interesting. Uh, on the one hand, I agree with what you're saying. On the other hand, I feel like I don't agree at all with what you're saying, and I don't
Mm,
know. But because like on the one hand, I do feel like any place I've ever been, or like any city at least, it's like it's all like, we're just in a city. Like the culture might be different, it might look different, but at the end of the day, we're in a city. Like, what can we do? It's like we can walk around, we can talk with locals, we can look at the places people take photos out of, we can go shopping, and we can like eat. and like those are the only options really, and like whatever other creative option you come up with, you can do in any other city too. It's not like
Hmm.
at the end of the day, cities are just like places where buildings are and people fill them and they're more densely populated. And then you can kind of say the same thing about everywhere else. And so like there are different cultures, and so like a lot of time, like sometimes I'll be traveling and I'll just be like, yeah, like, travel is like wasted on me. I'll say to myself sometimes because it's just like I don't feel a
Yeah.
sense of awe every moment that I'm on a trip. But on the
Yeah.
other hand, oh sorry, no, you're gonna say
No, go
something.
ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Because
On
I
the other
agree.
hand,
I agree with you thus far. It's like I definitely that's more of what I'm saying.
but on the other hand, I'm like I'll go to a place and I'm like, yeah, I don't understand these people at all. And not only do I like not understand what they're saying, um, I don't understand their attitude about life or like their attitude about work or their attitude about education or their attitude about anything. And it's like, yeah, you are a person and like there are things that I attribute to every person, like
Hmm.
human dignity and value and like that you deserve to be respected and that you're capable of love and being loved and worth and stuff like that. But that has nothing to do with like, okay, you and I are in a room together. Like if me and this random stranger in whatever country we're in, we're in an escape room together, would we be able to work it out? Or like would we be able to coincide or do things together? Um, like I don't
Yeah.
know. Um, like even if we didn't have a language barrier. Um,
Yeah.
and so on the one hand, I do agree with you that things do feel very familiar in some sense, but in another sense, things feel very unfamiliar.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it depends on I think it depends on what layer you're talking about. Like I think culture is what differs, you know, culture and people um that take on that culture. That's really what differs from place to place. Um, but you know, on the surface, like you said, like a city is a city, really. So it's like you can go as deep as you want, right? If you fly to a new city that you've never been in the country in the US or outside the US, you spend a weekend there just going to whatever restaurants. You can even find some restaurants that probably exist back where you're from, if you wanted to. You can go as deep as you want. And that's the interesting thing about travel. And why it's nice to really to travel with people that are familiar with the place that you're going. It's like because you can really go deep, um, and really experience the difference in where you're from versus where you're going.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Did you have more to say on this, or um,
Um, no, I don't
okay,
think I have anything more. Do you power lift, by the way? I'm looking at this
yeah.
banner behind you.
Sorry, we're in my closet, so this is covering all my clothes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was on the Northeastern University powerlifting team
Oh,
from
nice.
like whatever until 2021. So
That's awesome.
this is the banner. We got second place during COVID because no one really showed up, so
Hmm.
that was cool. The team got second. I was champion that year. The
Nice.
My primary competitor that year didn't get his mom to sign the permission slip to say she could compete during COVID. So you
Oh
know,
man. There
that's
you go. There you go.
um.
What lifts what I mean, I'm sure you do all of them, but like what's your specialty, I guess? Like what did you win in? I'm not super familiar with how it works, so feel
So
free
it's
to
just
kind
squat. It's squat, bench, and deadlift is like the meat. So it's like your total, the total weight you lift between squat, bench, and deadlift will be your total.
got it.
Um, I I would say I guess I was like the best at squats. I also enjoyed them the most. So
Hmm.
um,
Nice. That's
but
awesome.
yeah, yeah. Thank you. Um, you said something earlier about you grew up with Surgeon, and you're saying because like when you're 18, it's still like growing up with. I
Hmm.
definitely agree that like 18, even through like 25 are like formative years, and I think I won't say they're more formative years, but they can. I mean, they still completely can change the direction of your life, right? Like as much as, whatever 14 to 18 or earlier. Um,
Absolutely.
because I mean, generally people get thrown into completely new environments where whatever belief or principle they get tested or they find out that they were useless to begin with. Like, I think it's
Yeah.
very common to lose like I don't know, like whatever principle. I was gonna say honesty, but I already spoke about honesty in a different one. But we don't have to, so I don't
hmm
want to necessarily start down there. But you were saying you guys both learned from each other. Um, what do you think he learned from you?
Um, yeah. So I think I've always been someone who's been good about keeping a routine. So, I mean, this kind of goes to what we were previously talking about me having to really work to get out of my comfort zone and like have to be intentional about it because it's not something I really naturally do. The flip side of that is that I've been always been good at keeping a good routine and being disciplined about that routine. Um, so I think that's probably something that I mean, this is something he's mentioned to me. So um,
You gave him routine.
yeah, it just a good model of like how to have a good routine and discipline about keeping it. I think that's something that if you're, you know, we lived together for like 2 years, so it's something that he said, you know, he learned from it during that time.
Do you think is is that part of your identity, or is that like a principle that you hold, or is that something that just came about because this is the way that you were going to survive college?
Um, Maybe not routine, but I think discipline definitely is. That's something that I think is really important and that I hold as very high value for myself. Um, just being disciplined about everything, just uh, staying on track with what I need to do every day. Being clear about my goals and my direction. Also, just being disciplined. You know, now I live with my wife and my dog, just being disciplined about taking care of them um, as a good husband and as a good dog dad, as we say. Um, I think discipline is something that I employ every day, and it's something that I think is really core to who I am.
So what made you develop that identity, if
Yeah,
you know?
I think I always generally attribute it to my high school years. I ran cross country and track throughout high school, all 4 years, and I think that really set a great foundation for me. Because you're really doing the same thing every single day. You're just running every day. Um, you know, in different forms, obviously, you're doing different workouts and they're for different reasons, but it's all about repetition. Um, and I was never the greatest at it, but for me, like, and I probably would have maybe had more fun doing other sports. Though I got kind of sick of basketball and baseball and stuff growing up. Um, but it really developed that muscle for me. And I've carried that through college and into my more adult life ever since then.
Do you still run now?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
So so did you learn discipline just because you were running, or did you use it as a chance to build your discipline? Like, I guess, was discipline important to you before that? Or like it became important to you because you had to run and this is the only way you're going to justify running?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think
I mean,
before then,
pre-14, your pre-14 ideology might not have been super strong. You might not have been
right,
very
exactly.
principled as a
Yeah, that's what I'm
13-year-old.
saying.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I don't think I really needed it until then, I would say. Like I'd always generally been good in school, but I think that was just more from, you know, just wanting to stay in line. I've always been like I just want to fly under the radar, do what I need to do. Um, Not really step on any toes, not uh upset anybody, and just do what I need to do. That I feel like that's kind of where that came from, honestly. Um, but it wasn't until I started running like every day I realized that, what it took to hit the times that I wanted, for example. It's being really intentional about what you're doing. Um, and it takes that kind of focus and discipline to get the results you want. That was kind of the first experience I really had with that, I would say.
And I guess so you're saying it's how you develop the discipline muscle. Do you think you would still be able to be as disciplined as you are now if you stopped running? Or do you think that that's like the primary way you're able to like maintain your discipline?
Yeah, I definitely think now there's a lot of other responsibilities that I have that even if I couldn't run anymore, I would still carry that with me. Because like I said, like it's being a husband now, having a dog, just having more and more responsibilities um, to myself and to the people that I take care of. Um, you almost can't. I almost can't afford to not be disciplined. Um, whereas when it was more about just running and school, it's like this is for myself, and now it's more for other people.
Sure. I mean, so there are plenty of people who have a similar set of responsibilities as you, whether it's like to their wife and dog or wife and kids or whatever, but they still, you know, laze their way out of it.
Mhm.
So like it sounds like you are disciplined, but um a lot of people the responsibility is not enough, right? It's not enough to make me do the thing, right? I have to do it well or
Sure.
whatever. Um and so that's why I'm wondering, do you think the running is something that is enhancing that? And maybe, I mean, maybe you've been running long enough, you've been disciplined long enough. I'm assuming if you're friends with Sarujin and Fahim, you're probably around the same age, so you're in your mid to late 20s. That's
Mhm.
like, there's still plenty of time for, I mean, not, I'm rooting for you, but there's still plenty of time for, for life to get hard and tiring and you to get lazy.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, like, do you think that the running is a vital aspect of that or not?
Yeah, I think it is. I think I don't think I would still be doing it if it wasn't, honestly. Like for me, running is just at this point, it's more like just moving and exercise in general. It's also a mental thing for me. Yeah, I can generally be a pretty anxious person, so it's something that definitely keeps me in check and can take the edge off. Um, and whether it's in the form of running, I think running is something that I've loved for so long now, and I do think it's vital for me to maintain that. But I think it can take other forms. I recently took up swimming. I've been enjoying that. I lift a bit as well. I'm not really a power lifter per se, but I do like to lift too. Um, and yeah, just moving and getting exercise, I think is really important for me. And it is something that I do feel I depend on.
So the next thing I wanted to ask was, you said you and Sujan both learned from each other. You said he probably learned some routine and discipline from you, which are great traits to have, by the way. I think that's very admirable of you. Something I'm working on personally. What do you think you learned from Sujan?
Hmm. Yeah, a lot, I would say. To focus on a specific thing, I would say um, he's always just been great about staying connected to people from different phases of his life. Uh, college friends, high school friends, family, people that I had no idea he even knew. He just has a network of people that all, you know, I assume would speak very highly of him, that he maintains connections with. Um, and I think that just speaks a lot to his initiative around relationships, also just speaks a lot to um, his just personality and character, and just the general positivity people feel being around him. That's something that I, you know, have tried to learn from him. Just trying to keep in touch with people and also just be a bearer of just positivity and high energy in rooms. Just like in a group of friends, just trying to bring fun and good energy. That's something I always attribute to him, and that I've taken from him for sure.
Would you consider yourself to be like a high energy fun person?
Um, High energy, probably not. But I would say, yeah, I would say fun. I would say I'm generally a fun person. Um, but I'm more of like I'm definitely more low key, laid back and a bit lower energy when it comes to social settings, I would say.
There's there's a scene in East of Eden by John Steinbeck where like the dad of these two twins, like he's basically like an absent father until they're like middle school, high school, and then he kind of like just like gets waking up. Like he just like kind of like starts giving a crap all of a sudden. And so he asks one of the kids, like, "Tell me about yourself." And he's like, "I don't know. Like, I can't tell you about myself." It's like, "Okay, fine. Tell me about your brother." And so he starts describing his brother, and then he's just like, "Well, it sounds like you're just describing the opposite of yourself." So it's like, why do you think all of these things about yourself? Um, that's why I was wondering, like, uh, not that you guys are necessarily foils. Like in the book, those guys are foils, so they're the opposite. They are the opposite. Um, do you think you became fun because you learned from Surgeon, or do you think you were just fun and like you just were learning some things that he did that were also fun?
Um, yeah, I think in certain ways, being around him, it brings more of that out of me, I would say. But yeah, it really depends on who I'm around, I guess. Like I'm kind of like a social sponge in that way. Like my default setting is to just be very mellow. Um, but if the room is high energy, I can get there and be a part of that. So I will say it's probably, a lot of it can be attributed to my relationship with him as well as other people in my life that I spend time with and bring that out of me, I would say. It's not something it's not something I'm the like I wouldn't say that I bring it to a gathering of people. And that's something I would like to do more of, and what I've tried to learn from people in my life that are like that. Um, but I would say uh that's not really who I am generally.
The two questions that immediately come to mind are like, how do you plan on becoming that person?
Mhm.
And also, like, if it's not who you are, do you feel the need to change who you are to be that person?
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, you ask really good questions. I mean,
Oh, thank
I
you, sir.
think I think I would say it depends on the reason. It depends on the reason, right? So if I approach a social situation and I'm like I mentioned, I can be anxious if I'm overthinking something or in my head about something and that's causing me to be restrained in some way. That's something that I need to work on, right? Um, because I don't want that to be inhibiting me or impacting the memories that I have with the people that I love, right? Like I don't want to look back on because as you get older, you only um the times that you see people become fewer and fewer, right? Like people have their responsibilities, people are living their own lives. So you want to cherish those moments when you can have them. So yeah, if the reason I'm not exuding that is because I'm in my own head, then I think that's something I need to work on. But if people generally perceive me or if I like I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing if I'm just like laid back in a social setting. Like I think that can be good for some people as well. Like sometimes people just need a calm presence to talk to and just want to hang out and be low key, right? Like I think that can be a good thing as well. So it's not necessarily something that I feel like I want to get rid of, right? I don't want to just become Shrujan or become someone else. Um, but I generally don't want to bring negativity or have negativity impacting who I who I am in social settings.
Yeah, that's a very wise answer of you, right? It's like the difference between becoming a new person and letting negativity restrain who you can be.
Hmm.
Yeah. I
Right.
mean, that makes a lot of sense. That's a very good motivation.
Mm.
Are you, do you have plans to do something like, do you have a plan to become more like this high energy or like this person who's living more in the moment instead of being anxious in your social settings?
Mm. Yeah, I mean that's the perfect way I would put it, by the way. Like I think that's the goal, right? For me personally. As far as a plan, like I'm honestly still working that out. Like I think there's ways I can go about doing it. Just um, you know, I guess journaling has helped me in the past. But also just trying to be intentional about um like if I'm going into like a social situation, just trying to be I don't know. I don't know I really honestly don't know. Uh
I
I'm
mean, if you
still
don't have
working
a
out a
plan,
plan,
that's fine.
honestly.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I
If you
would
don't have
say
a plan, it's fine. I'm just
I don't
curious.
necessarily have one. I think for me right now, it's when I go into these situations, I just try to not worry, like just not carry anything else with me, um, outside of just being excited to see whoever I'm about to see. Right. I think that's generally what I try to do. Um, but I think there's more that I can do, and I think part of my process will be figuring that out. Right. But
Yeah.
right now, that's where I am.
No, I mean that's totally fine. I was just wondering if you had figured something out, you could share some secrets. That's all. There's no
Nope.
shame in not having it figured out. Most people don't have
Yeah.
most things figured out. That's the average. That's the median state of things.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah. No, I agree.
yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I think you ever watch the Apple TV show? I don't know if it's Shrinking or Shrinked or
No, but I've heard it's good. I only currently get Apple TV to watch Severance, and then I cancel my subscription. But that's one that I considered watching. I heard it's good.
um yeah, my brother has Apple TV.
Hmm.
Or he had Apple TV, but so we watched it. And there's there's a bit in there where Harrison Ford's character is just like, just imagine like whatever the worst case scenario. Imagine like the worst thing that could possibly happen, and be like, and just like put yourself in a crowd, like in a cloud in your mind, and like clear it out, and then like that's the thing, the situation, and be like, I want this, like I
Mm,
want this worst case scenario. That's what I'm hoping for, you know?
yeah.
Um, I have no idea if that works.
Mm,
I've done it like twice, with some success. So like I don't generally find myself in situations that make me super anxious. So I don't generally leave my comfort zone.
mhm.
Or not intentionally. Like I find myself in weird situations that I'm uncomfortable in all the time, but I don't really get a choice. Like I can't exit them of my own
Right.
will. So like that we're
Just
just here.
happens to you.
Yeah, yeah. Like I'm just here meeting someone like I have no business talking to, and oh, all right, fine, whatever. But like,
Right.
um, when like for me, I generally use that when I'm like I'm in my comfort zone and there's something I want on the other side of the comfort zone, like outside of it. I'm like, all right, like I
Mm.
don't know if that will help you, but that was just the scene that came to mind.
Yeah, I'll have to watch it. I want to see it. But yeah, I think that's generally something I think therapy is great for a lot of people. It's something I do think I would like to try. But yeah, yeah, I definitely want to look into that.
Yeah, I mean, I have no negative
That
things
that
to say
show's
about
about
that.
that show's about therapy, right?
Yeah, I mean, the characters are
Kind
like
of.
half of them like therapists. They work in it like the protagonist is a therapist.
Mm,
Um, albeit a quite messed up one.
right.
Um, yeah. All right, I think I it's about time that I should let you go, so I don't want to start another one. I also didn't really have a good question to follow up with anyways, but I
I
hope
do
you
have a
enjoyed this. Oh yeah,
I do have a question for you. I'm curious if you
sure.
have a favorite Uncle Iroh quote.
Oh, that's a great um I don't know if I haven't sat down and thought about my favorite one. Um, but the two scenes that I find myself thinking about the most are one of the ones in the Tales of Bossing Say where he helps the mugger and he goes like
Mm,
he's like, oh, I think it could be a great masseuse or whatever. And while it's always best to believe in oneself, a little help from others goes a long way. I think about that one a lot.
yeah.
Um, and then the other one that I think about a lot is that when Zuko returns and he says, I was never angry with you. I was only disappointed that you lost your own way.
Hmm.
Um, those two are the ones that live in my head rent free. I mean,
Yeah.
I bought a guitar just to play Leaves from the Vine. I'm very
Nice.
bad at guitar and I'm very bad at the song, but I mean, Tales of Bossing stays in my head rent free for sure.
Yeah. No, those are two good ones. Um,
What about you? Do you have a favorite?
uh, yeah, I think I do. I remember his conversation with Toph. I really enjoyed a lot of what he said there. About uh, just how it's okay to let people who love you help you. That whole conversation. I think that's one of my favorites as well. I think in addition to the two that you mentioned, those would probably be my top three.
Yeah, I mean that's a good one. Um,
Because I just love Toph's arc. I think that conversation is a really strong part of her arc in the story of just, learning that you don't need to do everything on your own, right?
yeah, you know what? Now that you say, I actually, so I've watched the show. I was gonna say maybe too many times, but I don't think that's true. But I've watched the show several times, and right, first time you watch it, you're watching it for Aang's arc, right?
Mhm.
Then the second one, you pick a character that you like. Maybe it's Iroh, maybe it's Zuko, maybe it's Katara, whatever, and you follow their arc. I really like
Yeah.
Toph as a character. She's always been one of my favorite characters. I've never really thought about her arc
Hmm.
because like she does have an arc, but you meet her later in the story and she's already more fully developed than all the other characters when you meet them. The only other
Yeah.
person who has like less of an arc, like is more fully developed, are all the masters, who are like Iroh. Like Iroh doesn't have a story arc really. He's just a part of other people's, which
Yeah.
is why I think he's so cool.
Right.
Because he's already fully developed. I never really thought about how Toph develops throughout the show. I'll have to think about that the next time I rewatch it.
Yeah. It's definitely subtle. It's like it's not a huge arc or anything, but it's like it's nice. It's nice to see where she ends up. Especially in the finale where she's like, you know, there's a scene in the finale that I've always kind of I know the writers probably didn't intend it this way, but I've always attributed to like an arc moment for her when she like she Sokka tells her where the ship is and she like launches them up in the air. Do you remember that part in the finale?
Yeah, yeah,
And then she has no idea but she like trusts that her friends are gonna catch her, right? So she does what she can and trusts that her friends will help her get to, ultimately where she needs to be. Which is hopefully not falling to their deaths.
yeah,
But yeah, that's it's I don't know, things like that. I just is what I love about the show.
yeah. I mean, you make a good point, but the writers may not have intended that to be an arc moment. But I think that's one of the things that
Yeah,
makes Avatar and many other classics so great is that the writers just try and make the thing as realistic as they can. And like from their own wisdom, they accidentally make something worth reflecting on. Um,
yeah, for sure. It's a
yeah,
great show.
it is. Yeah, man, thank you for your time. I do want to ask you, if you could find someone you think would also be interested in doing this, that you think is also a good fit, someone who maybe has something to offer in terms of their adventurousness or wisdom or kindness or,
Sure.
I really enjoyed talking to you, and you said you're based in Connecticut.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna ever accidentally end up in Connecticut, but I think Fahim and I are gonna try and meet Sarujin in New York in the first weekend of December. So
Okay.
sounds like these are all your friends. So if you're free, we
Hey
can
man, I
try and
can
do
come
something.
in. I definitely come in. Yeah, I go to New York some weekends, so that sounds I mean that time frame sounds good to me. So I'd love to meet you all in person.
Yeah, and I think this will get released after that, so no one's gonna dox our trip. Not that I think the number of viewers will be equal to the number of guests on the show.
Hey, it's all good.
It's not the goal. I mean, the goal is to meet people, and I'm doing
Right.
that. So I'm
Yeah,
very
no,
happy.
it's
Thank you.
that's why I did it. I mean, any friend of Fahim's is a friend of mine, so it's been really great to talk to you.
Yeah, great talking to you. Have a good one.
Yeah.